Welcome back to the PPI interviews. Our second ever guest will be the German D-line, Hugo Klages. Klages, am I pronouncing that right?
That is correct. Both ways were correct.
You're born and raised in Spain, but you're German. So where exactly in Spain did you grow up?
So it's a small city or smaller city called Alicante in the southeast of Spain at the coast. And yeah, I mean, I was born in a small village called Jalón. There, I didn't spend a lot of time there. I guess like most of my young life, we lived in Alicante in a place called San Juan Pueblo, and that's where I grew up and basically lived for the whole time up until I was 9.
Okay. And then when you were 9, did you move back to Germany or?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So then growing up in Spain and Germany, how did you and when did you find out about football?
So with 14, my brother was 14, but my brother was playing already before me, and it was at the youth team in the city where we lived close by. It's called Brunswick, and my brother again, as I said, was playing, and at one point he just suggested to me if I would want to come to a practice. That was after I was pretty much done with playing soccer for 14 years, which was my sort of first love in sports. And yeah, with 14, my brother took me to one practice one time, and I fell in love with American football, and I've been playing ever since.
So did you start as D-line or did you start in another position?
Well, they put me the first practice actually. They put me as a D lineman on the line in the trenches as a D tackle actually, and then I ran away from the ball carrier my first practice. But after that, they put me at a wide receiver, and then switched to cornerback after that. Um, and then after that, as I gained more weight, I switched to D tackle or D line, defensive end at first, and then in college, obviously D tackle.
So then when did you like find out about PPI and when did you start working with PPI?
The first time I met Brandon was 2017, starting 2018. My first camp was in Hanover. But really knowing about PPI was through social media and what Brandon was doing for a lot of kids internationally. And that was around 2017, yeah. And I would say also 2016, I was already seeing a lot of posts and a lot of social media content. And then at one point, I decided after the national team in 2017 where I played for Germany in the youth national team, I decided to get in contact with Brandon and PPI, and I think I just texted him on Instagram or something or Facebook, and then he was like, "Yeah, come to our camps, come to Hanover, it's our next camp," and then that's where I went, and yeah, there I had actually my first meniscus tear at that camp, but yeah, that's how I got in contact with him in Hanover at the first camp in Hanover.
Okay. So how many like walk us through kind of the process? You went to that camp and then did you do other camps? Then did you go on tour?
The process was kind of hard. Again, the first camp, I tore my meniscus, had to come back from that. Coach Brandon always told me like, keep working, keep working. Your shot is gonna come. Trust the process. Like trust the process was the one that always he would always say, and that's what I did. I just trusted in the fact that the shot is gonna come, and I just gotta keep working. And if I don't work, nothing's gonna happen regardless. So I might as well just work. So then I just kept going camps after that. Once my meniscus was healed, and I was able to really perform again. And I couldn't tell you which camps I visited, which ones they were or where they were. I think I was in Wiesbaden one time. I was in Amsterdam. Drove 46 hours just to get a shot, and just to be seen, also get evaluated, obviously. And yeah, just kept going to the camps, kept performing, kept getting faster, stronger, bigger, and essentially my shot came with the DC tour, and the invitation that I got in I believe it was 2019 or 2000 late 2018, beginning of 2019.
So then did you get your offer from UMass during that tour?
So the offer from UMass was by me posting a lot of stuff and then essentially them reaching out to Brandon, and that was before the tour. And then And then I went to the tour, and then there I got all the other scholarships that I had essentially at the end accumulated. And yeah, but UMass was before the tour was one where it was basically, yeah, we like this guy, he's working a lot, and we would like, we see all his videos. I think one coach, I believe, said literally, he's sprinting hills up and down every day, and we like his work ethic. And then through that, like through posting on Twitter and all these things, I was able to get that offer. But then obviously at the DC tour, I was able to get all the other ones like Kent State and FAU and Cincinnati. And through performing at the camp at Mercer, that first camp, and then kind of like as Coach Brand said, like it kind of skyrocketed my recruiting stock, so to speak, and that's where I got most of my offers through the tour. Yeah,
So what made you then decide to go to UMass when you had other offers as well? What was like the biggest deciding factor?
quite honestly, I was 18. I was quite unknown when it came down to. I was lacking knowledge when it came down to the just the recruiting process, just the whole overall yeah, communication with coaches and how the college culture is and all that. Saying that to say that at that time, I just, went for the first offer and the first connect that I had, and that was UMass. And it was a great connect. They believed in me, and it was something where that I valued at that time when I was 18. I wasn't thinking business. I wasn't thinking, all the other aspects. I was just, trying to get a good connect, a good relationship with coaches, and that's what I had at UMass. Yeah, and I also thought like Division One is Division One.
Mhm.
So it might not matter where you go. You're going to get it your D1 shot regardless. There might be levels to some colleges, but at that time I didn't think of that. But it was a connection with the coaches, really. That's what it was. Yeah. That's why I committed to UMass. Yeah.
That's important. So then once you committed and you're like getting ready, I'm assuming you were still in Germany getting ready to go to UMass. How did you like mentally and physically prepare for college football? Did you have like any knowledge of how it was actually going to be?
That's a great question though. I did not I did not know how it's gonna be. I had no well, I heard that it's, from other guys that were at colleges. I heard a little bit, I communicated a little bit, but I didn't have a lot of knowledge and kind of pre-made information going into college. I was just like, I got work ethic. I know that I'm gonna work. I know that college is hard in a way, but I don't know what I might expect. And in terms of preparation, I think you don't can't I don't think you can prepare really for college. Like college is not for everyone, in my opinion. Like you either got it mentality wise, like or you don't really. That's what it is. And once you get there, you either figure it out or you don't. That's kind of what the motto is. And then once you're there, academically, you obviously have all the support that you need, and you got the academic advisors and that help you all the way up to graduation. And obviously, you got to put in the work yourself. You got to be disciplined and have your own good time management. I think time management is something that I would tell people going into college, like have a good schedule and structure of your day. Like you don't want to wake up in the morning and figure out what you have to do throughout the day. Like you want to do that the day prior or at best couple of days prior. But then once you're in college, everything that involves athletics, like lifting, running, sprinting, jumping, all these things, obviously you're gonna get developed, but you're gonna decide for yourself pretty soon what you're in college for. And for me at that time was I wanted to get to the NFL. I didn't go to college to party. I didn't go there to quote unquote bullshit around. I was just trying to be great. And obviously what that took was something that I realized way on in year 2 and 3, where you start to realize that it takes way more than just being disciplined, being on time, and doing extra. Like you have to do an excessive amount of work, and even that at times might not be enough. And that's the harsh reality of college. It's extremely fun when you do what you're supposed to do,
Mhm.
but it's also demanding, mentally, physically for sure. And you just gotta be tough for it. You gotta be able to, when you're tired and your body's hurting, still go to academics and still go to lectures. and do your job, academically, and also, when it comes on to athletics, there's practices every day, there's lifts every day, and you got to give it your best every time and dominate. And I think that's what really separates the guys in college, I believe, is once you really got that mindset of, okay, I'm coming here to dominate and to better than everyone else, or in my position group at least I'd say, then I think that's the right mentality, and I think you will be fine. But if you go to college with a sort of, lackadaisical mindset or mentality, but I think most of the guys that, especially that come from PBI, have that, that first mindset that I spoke of just being determined and relentless, and that's what we as international kids are known for. I think that's what's great about PBI. You got guys that don't are not used to the college program per se, and have a lot of respect for that, and take it with pride. And I think that's really what it comes down to. But I don't think you can really prepare for it. You can kind of like reach out to other guys and maybe see, what are some things, some mistakes that you could avoid, some things that you might not know during college, like taxes, for example, something that I didn't know. Um, but at the end of the day, it's about the type of person that you are, and I think most of the times you will be fine if you have that mentality that I spoke of.
So then once you went in, you kind of listed a lot about the like differences and what might be like a shock, but what do you consider what was like the hardest like shock or like cultural difference that you weren't maybe prepared for?
For example, work ethic. Like there's every day something where, I mean, especially during fall camp, for example, you have literally meetings from in the morning up until the evening, from 9 to 9, and then everything's like, tight schedule. Like you have food for 30 minutes, and then you have like meetings 30 minutes, and then you have practice for 2 hours, and then after that you got classes or film study or those sort of things. So that was kind of like a shocker how loaded the days are. And then I guess just cultural things are, definitely a little bit different, um, different way of communicating with each other when it comes down to overall, like, player coaches communication, or overall, like, societal stuff. But I don't want to go, deep into that. I mean, it's definitely different than in Europe. But the work ethic is also way higher in the States. People are really harder workers, I would say. I can't compare that to Germany. I mean, in Germany, people work hard too, but it's different hard work. And I think that was a little bit of a shocker too. And you adapt pretty quick. And I kind of fell in love with that too. But like, if you see that lifestyle, how Americans work, and how they're, especially in college, how coaches, are always on their own timing, but always like, uh, uh, help you be great. That's always something that resonated with me in terms of like seeing that, like, wow, coach is working hard. Like I don't want to disappoint him, those type of things. But shocker, I think there's no other shockers per se, or in terms, again, just some cultural differences. But
What would you say is your best college football memory?
having a sack in 2022 against Texas A&M. In Texas. It was a great game. I believe like my best game that I've ever played in college football. I love the games where you don't have to, where you just ball and don't think, don't overthink. You're just able to play. I love that. And you just, yeah, again, just able to go. You trust your instincts, and you trust your ability to play. And that was a, that type of game. And that was my best memory, having that sack. And the funny thing is, I visualized it the day before. Literally that play, I visualized it in my head, and exactly how I visualized it, it happened. So that was a great, yeah, the greatest memory for me. Yeah, and also obviously at their stadium, under like 60, 70,000, like 50,000, I think it was. What's the word I'm looking for? People, viewers, I guess.
Insane.
Uh, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. Loved it.
That's awesome. So you also went to the CFL combine, correct?
Correct.
So walk us through like how was that experience and how did it like come about for you?
So the CFL Combine, is definitely taxing. You fly, you get flown in. This year it was at Winnipeg. It's an 8-hour flight. and then you get to your hotel. Overall, obviously not the outcome that I wanted. But again, it's like taxi. You have to, it's numerical order, and I was 97, so like you had a little bit of downtime, which essentially got your nervous system to cool down a little bit too much, in my opinion. But overall, it was set up good. You were able to compete. I personally didn't get the chance to compete because I had like a hamstring pull the first 40 that I ran, unfortunately. But overall, I had good numbers when it came down to the international roster in that or group in that combine this year, and we're able to get, we're able to was able to be number one in certain drills. But then again, due to my pop Tammy, I wasn't able to compete football wise. So you have the testing day first, and then or actually measurements first, and then testing day second, and then you have 3 days of football, which I would have loved to compete at. But Miami would just wouldn't let me. I could barely walk. So yeah, it was that. It would have been fun, but I would have loved to talk football there, but I couldn't because I didn't. I was just watching on the sidelines for those 3 days of football.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So now you're back in Europe, playing for Rhine Fire in the ELF. So how did you go back to Europe? How did you sign with Rhine Fire?
In December already, I had contact with Coach Shamsula, and he told me that Ryan Fires is going to be there in case I need an opportunity and all that. And we got in contact through Chris Moore, who's the coach here for or like helps in terms of strength and conditioning purposes for the team in Aachen. He has like his own gym, MPC, and he used to play for Coach Shamsula, and that's kind of the connect that I had. And through Chris, I connected with Coach Shamsula, and again, Coach Shamsula said that if I need an opportunity, he would be welcoming me to his team. And essentially, after the CFL combine that didn't go as planned, I had to make a decision, and that was run fire. And it's the best team in Europe for sure. They won the championship last year, and for me personally, it was an easy choice. Thinking of if I want to play at the European level in Europe in the ELF, I would like to go with a team that that's been number one last year. So and also obviously with that great coaching staff that Coach Msula built, it was an easy choice for me.
So last questions. Any advice to other European football players that are want to play college football and just follow in your footsteps?
I got a couple. I would say, always make sure before you make a decision in terms of college, like, make your research about that college, what area it is in the States, what state, like literally everything, make your research, communicate with other players where you're going to be, prioritize your health when you're in college. Like I, for example, was a little bit reckless with my health, like, health comes always first, even in a hyper, um, hyper competitive environment as college football, you still have to prioritize your health. Work hard, do more than others, be in meetings, always like 10 minutes early, watch extra film, watch more film than others so you know what's coming when you get on the field. You already know what's coming and you're able to anticipate the plays. When you're in the gym, try to also work on your deficits. Don't just go in the gym and do the plan that your strength coach gives you, or do the things that he has you to do. Also make your own research. Look at what you're lacking. What are you not efficient at right now, um, and then work on it. There's always solutions for every deficit in your body, whether it's weak knees or like unstable shoulders or whatever. There's always exercise, and essentially nobody's going to baby you in college. You have to do a lot of things yourself, and you got to be a grown man and be able to do your research and be hyper efficient on the field. And that requires obviously working on your deficits also in the gym and doing more there. Yeah, time management is important. Definitely, have a good schedule. Obviously the basics. Eat, sleep, 8 hours. Eat good, eat your protein, veggies, all these things. But I'm pretty sure most of the guys know the basics already. And then I think that would be it. There are a couple other things, but that would I guess like
Yeah. I mean, that takes them pretty far. Just listening to that advice, I think that'll
Yeah,
help a lot of young athletes going from Europe to college. That's all I have. Thanks, Hugo, for coming on, and I wish you the best of luck with rank
appreciate it.
five this season.
Thank you, Nana. Appreciate it.